The planet Cronus. Beset on all sides by the tides of war, this once quiet colony became a savage battlefield. 7 armies clashed on this one world, each refusing to back down. Each convinced it was in the right. From beneath the sands of Cronus' central desert came the Necrons, ancient machines bent on eradicating all life. But another evil already had its eyes on the planet. From the depths of the warp, the demonic forces of chaos arrived to enforce their claim. To oppose these fearsome powers, the planet's rulers in the Tau Empire sent their elite soldiers and sophisticated battlesuits into the fray. From the mighty Imperium of Man came the Imperial Guard, there to secure Cronus for the glory of the God Emperor. Like a green tide, the Ork horde descended on Cronus, caring little for others' claims and sowing destruction in its wake. The Eldar, ancient enemies of the Necrons, emerged from their webway to pursue their own agenda on Cronus. And last came the Space Marines, finest and most uncompromising of the Imperium's soldiers. Seeing a world beset by aliens and heretics, they undertook a great purge. A Dark Crusade had begun. It could only end with the total victory of one of these factions, and the total defeat of all others. The powers of chaos manifested in the once pleasant Deimos Peninsula on the southern coast of Cronus, transforming it into a blasted hellscape. Summoned by heretical cultists, the Black Apostle Eliphas, the Inheritor, emerged from the warp, leading a whole company of the Word-bearer Chaos Legion. These heretical Space Marines had been to Cronus before, fighting against their loyal brothers during the dark days of the Horus Heresy. Eliphas had been but a young champion then, but returned a terrible Chaos Lord, ready to bring ruin to the galaxy at large. The Dark Crusade would be his proving ground. By defeating the many powers vying for the planet, he sought to gain favor with the dark gods he worshipped. Unless they could be stopped then and there, the Word-bearers would strike deeper into the Imperium. When the tide of war turned against the Tau, they faced attack in their stronghold in the city of Asharis, renamed Tashin by the aliens. The aliens were well entrenched, however, and ready to mount a vigorous defense. Shas Okais, the Tau military leader, made his headquarters in a mighty citadel in the city's center, forcing attackers to wend their way through the tight city streets, exposed to sniper fire and ambushes. Outlying bases in different quarters of the city supported his strategy, with Krut warriors and powerful armored units harassing attackers even further. The Tau's only strategic vulnerability was Unity Plaza, the city's main public space. A sophisticated communications tower there could potentially be used by an attacker to expose the stealth units positioned across the city. Okais knew, however, that his attacker's ultimate objective would be assassination, not conquest. Onel Shiorez, a member of the mysterious ethereal caste, led the Tau forces from the citadel in Tashin. Were he to die, Tau forces would crumble. But as long as the Ethereal lived, the Tau would defend Tashin against all comers.
Okais, are the troops ready?
Yes, Ornell. The Earthcast is completing construction of the Montcar command post. Our armored units are ready to deliver the killing blow.
And our Kroot allies?
Also ready, Ornell. The Kayun command post in the city's Kroot quarter is prepared, and the Shapers have readied the finest of their warriors. Stealth teams are taking position across the city, ready to strike where the enemy is weak. And Kroot packs will defend the streets and meet the enemy head-on.
Excellent, Commander. Patch me through to the troops, please.
Soldiers of the Firecast, Kroot and Vespid allies, today we stand as a bulwark against the selfish, the soulless, and the mad. Today, we must drive back our enemies from our city and from our world. Today, more than ever before, we fight for the greater good, and we will triumph. Communications arrays. Team Sigma, they are targeting the array to disrupt your stealth fields. Fall back. Is dead. We cannot win. Fall back, now! All forces, fall back. Evacuate the city. We will return, Ornell, to Tau for burial. There is nothing left for us here.
Eliphas the Inheritor's defeat of the alien forces of the Tau Empire led to a twisted parody of inquisitorial practices. The Word-Bearers celebrated the death of Onel Shorez and pointed to the Ethereal's demise as evidence of the falsehood of Tau idols. The heretical propaganda surrounding this event saw the Word-Bearers spitting back at the world the same accusations used to damn them. They called the Tau heretics and infidels, faithless creatures who worshipped empty ideals under the boots of the Hierophantic Ethereal caste. These acts were all directed at pleasing Lorgar, the Word-Bearer Primarch, who is said to rule the Legion from the demon world of Sycharis. the founder of the twisted faith preached by his legion, Lorgar is said to hate the irreligious above all others. If so, it is not hard to imagine him smiling over the slaughter carried out in his name in the Tau cities of Cronus. Those opposing Warlord Gorgut's headhunters' Green Tide faced the same challenge the Tau had faced on Cronus for generations. Pushing the Orks back from the deserts and cities was one thing, but dislodging them from the jungle was another altogether. Even the legendary Tau leader, Commander Farsight, had failed to purge the Ork-infested swamps of the Green Coast. Still, a complete purge wasn't necessary to break Gorguts. The Warlord had cobbled together his great horde, or Wa, in the parlance of the alien, from a large number of fractious clans and tribes. So long as the Warlord led the Wa to victory, their clan's loyalty was assured. But with enemies assailing them in their very homes, discontent reared its head among the Orks. Secondary chieftains wondered if they might not make better warlords than Gorguts. With these fissures in the Wa widening, the Orks' enemies struck. They drove deep into the Green Coast, hoping to eliminate Gorguts himself and plunge the Horde into infighting and rebellion. For Warlord Gorguts, the only solution was to crush the attackers under unrelenting waves of Ork warriors.
You think you can sneak about without me boys seeing ya? You think you can come for me, Ed? Orks is never beaten in battle. Shut it, you grot! The rest of them are coming and we got to be ready. Tell the boys there's some killing to do. I made them big banners to remind the clans that they better keep their boys in line. I don't want no squigheads looking to fight me when the enemy's right here. Gorguts is the war boss. Got it, you mudsuckers? This here voicey box let him talk to you. So open your ears. Listen up, you grots and squids. They's coming for us like we some kind of human kits, but we ain't. We's the Orks, and this here is gonna be one great fight. So get your choppers and your shooters ready, boys, 'cause there's some killing to do. Head Crushers, you ready? Foot stompers, you squiggers and socks ready? Burner boys, you wanna fight? Rocket Rangers, you in it or what? And what about yous, quick mechs? You gonna let these other runts get all the good fighting done? That's right, we gonna crush them all. This here is a right and proper war! Gorguts ain't so tough. Get him! Ain't no grot lover's gonna leave me war! Chop 'em up, boys! Boss! The head crushers is rebelling! I can see that, you squid farmer! Shut your yap and get back to killing! But killing who, boss? master of the obvious. Use explosives.
The what?
The bomb, you git. The bomb. Always have your tunnels dug and ready.
You sure is smart, boss.
Shut it, you git! I got me a whole war to rebuild. Now get me the gawk off of this here planet.
The massed Orc clans threw their full might against the tide of the Word-bearers. But in the battle between heretic and alien, the blasphemers triumphed. Indeed, as is their way, the forces of chaos sowed dissent and conflict among the Orcs. The once unified band of Warlord Gorguts fell into fractious infighting just when he faced the warp-powered heretics. The slaughter that ensued was of epic proportions, but Eliphas the Inheritor's true objective was simpler. The Black Apostle recovered from Gorguts the skull of Krull, the Butcher of Lorne 5. This debased heretic had led the so-called Blood Legion of Khorne and faced the Imperial Guard's 412th Cadian Regiment. Eliphas claimed his severed head for Khorne's Skull Throne, obtaining in this way the favor of the most terrible of the Chaos Gods. The full extent of the Necron presence on Cronus did not become clear until those opposing them launched raids into the catacombs under the Thur Abyss Plateau. The first Necron massacres on the planet had occurred there, and their enemies expected to find some sort of alien bastion. Instead, they found an entryway into the underworld. Garbled reports from doomed scouts sent into the cavernous passageways revealed a network of catacombs honeycombing the entire plateau. Some of these now stood hollowed out, while others served as staging grounds for Necron forces. Worst of all, however, were the deeper tunnels, where row upon row of Necrons still stood, slowly waking to join their lord's global genocide. The attackers settled on a dangerous gambit. A strike force would enter the catacombs and plant a massive explosive device deep in the main cavern. An explosion there would collapse the entire network, crushing or sealing off the legions of still dormant Necrons and shattering those already risen. It remained to be seen if anyone could deliver this device, much less escape in time to continue the fight across Cronus.
The gods have forsaken us!
At long last you have found the tranquility of death. I was like you once, clinging to life. and blind to the truth. When I uncovered the truth, I too shuddered and paled with fear. Deep in these catacombs, I was remade. Here, my brethren slumbered for eons, while the living grew like weeds. My lord knew this day would come. He had plans for us all. We would purge this world once more. So come, poor victims of life. We will grant you tranquility in these crypts. Cronus will be a tomb world once more. It is beneath me. You have penetrated but the very surface of our catacombs. More and more of us rise from the depths with every passing moment. My lord, the living are escaping. My lord, the living have...
Faithful subjects of the Emperor understandably took heart to see the word-bearers strike at the heart of the Necron infestation of Cronus. With two implacable evils turning on one another, the thinking went, the forces of right couldn't help but win. Unfortunately, Eliphas the Inheritor would emerge from his victory in the Thur Abyss Plateau, more dangerous than ever. Imperial commanders could not guess that the Necrons held strange technologies and artifacts that were as hateful to the powers of chaos as they were to life itself. By shattering the basalt monoliths and unholy archives of the Necrons, Eliphas was striking at one of the only forces, other than the God Emperor himself, able to push back the ruinous powers. In so doing, he not only removed a threat to his power, but gained the favor of Tzeentch, one of the Chaos Gods of the Warp. His Dark Crusade would carry the sanction of the God of Sorcery from that day onward, making it all the more unstoppable. Upon arriving on Cronus, General Lucas Alexander became Governor Militant and set about reclaiming the planet for the Imperium. When his enemies launched attacks on his capital, he prepared to repel them with extreme prejudice. Experts in planetary defense, the men of the Imperial Guard were heavily dug in and fortified in Victory Bay. Any attacker would face well-armed and well-supplied soldiers, backed by powerful armored columns and artillery positions. The Guard's only real weakness was its morale. Although most soldiers served honorably, the men of the regiment's 5th Company had proven less than stalwart, and were placed under command of Regimental Commissar Anton Gebet in a forward base on the northern shore of the Victoria River. Without Gebet's whip, the company and its base would surely fold. Other companies took position in forward bases in more sensitive areas, ready to drive the enemy off. Still, determined attackers could overrun those positions. Governor Alexander remained confident, however. Indeed, any opponent who made it past his forward positions would find themselves staring down the barrel of the massive Hellstorm cannon of an Imperator Titan.
Fifth Company, this is the moment of truth. You will not fear. You will not falter. You will not give a single step to the enemy.
But sir, if you will not serve in combat, then you will serve on the firing line.
Enemies of the Imperium, hear me. You have come here to die. The immortal Emperor is with us, and we are invincible. His soldiers will strike you down. His war machines will crush you under their treads. His mighty guns will bring the very sky crashing down upon you. You cannot win. The Emperor has given us his greatest weapon to wield. So make yourselves ready. We are the 1st Cronus Regiment, and today is our victory day.
Go, go, go! On my command, fire the Titan cannon. Fire! Begin recharge. I want that gun firing again.
The command post is gone. We can't hold them back much longer. We can't allow the Titan cannon to fall into their hands. Overload the core.
For the Emperor!
Governor Militant Alexander's naming of his capital proved highly premature, as Victory Bay saw his troops broken and slaughtered by the powers of chaos. Eliphas the Inheritor led an unholy procession through the streets of the shattered city, his cultists shouting out terrible supplications and gathering up the dead and wounded. These unfortunates were brought before the great Hellstorm cannon that had formed the center of the Imperial defense. Eliphas' sorcerers, Amphion and Zethus, then performed a terrifying ritual using these rotting corpses as their sacrifice. With their dark words, the demon of plague and rot, bound into the cannon during the Horus Heresy, awoke anew. The word-bearers celebrated this day as that when their new crusade obtained the support of Ner'gul, the Chaos God of pestilence and decay. Eldar rely on stealth and trickery where others trust in direct force and valor.
An ancient and debased people, the aliens only sully their hands in battle when they have no choice. When the Eldar's enemies at last tracked down their hidden base of operations in Tyria, the far-seer Taldir turned to a strategy of trickery. In this, she followed the ways of her ancient and deceitful race. Her forces were centered on a great reinforced hill in a remote, frozen area with very limited access. To cut off these access points, the far-seer lured Cat's Paws to Tyria. Orks, dissatisfied with a war of Warlord Gorguts, followed advice whispered by Taldir's warlocks and camped right where they could screen the Eldar from attackers. The Eldar, nevertheless, built a substantial force of their own. Advanced webway gates allowed them to ferry troops from the Wraith ship hiding behind a holofield somewhere in the Cronus system. But these same gates were the Eldar's great weakness. If attackers could take and hold them, Taldir would be cut off from reinforcements and any hope of escape. Alone and outnumbered, the Eldar would be caught in their own trap.
All is prepared.
Excellent. Exarch Recanus, take your warp spiders to their positions and then return to the Aspect Shrine.
We are on our way.
You have doubts, Harlequin?
I trust in your vision, Taldir of Oathway, but to stand surrounded by primitives makes me uneasy.
I understand your distaste, but Eldar rely on speed and stealth. We are not made for entrenched positions. The Orks, however, make for excellent tools. They will keep the supply roads closed and our true enemies weak.
And if these attackers defeat the Orks?
I do not doubt they will overcome our Cat's Paws, but it will cost them. And in their weakened state, they will face the Wailing Doom itself. The Seer Council has named the young king. Exarch Recanus of the Warp Spider Shrine shall sacrifice himself to awaken our most powerful warrior, the Avatar of Cain.
None shall escape my wrath.
Return to the main base. Let our enemies fight amongst themselves.
Get them! Get them all! Destruction incarnate!
We are taking fire!
The webway is closed to us now. We are trapped on this world. The avatar of Cain has fallen. Go, all of you. Find what refuge you can in the wilderness of this world.
Escape is still possible, Farseer.
I do not deserve that title, Harlequin. My vision has failed us all. My fate is here, and I shall not flee from it.
The Eldar of Craft World Ulthwé came to Cronus pursuing their alien agendas, but in the end did nothing but feed the power of the Chaos Lord Eliphas the Inheritor. Despite her use of Orkish servants and even a rival Chaos cult, the witch Taldir was unable to hold back Eliphas's forces, who cut her off from her vessel and subjected her people to the most terrible of fates. To celebrate his victory over the Eldar, Eliphas had his men crack open all the aliens' waystones. According to the black texts circulated after this dark day, these eldritch gems held the souls of the Eldar, keeping them from feeding the powers of chaos. By breaking the waystones, the word-bearers fed thousands of Eldar souls to Slaanesh, the Chaos God of excess and decadence, and obtained that dark deity's favor for their Dark Crusade. The Space Marines of the Blood Ravens chapter were well entrenched in their castellum in North Vandia when they finally faced an all-out attack. Utterly unwilling to surrender or retreat any further, the Blood Ravens prepared a mighty defense against the coming assault. Among those defending the keep were Space Marines drawn from the chapter's hallowed First Company. These were the hardened veterans of many crusades, each man ready and able to face down whole squads of enemy attackers. The Blood Ravens on the ground would be further bolstered by fresh troops arriving from the battle barge Litania Fury in orbit around the planet. Only two factors made the Blood Ravens at all assailable in their stronghold. Most critically, the fortress was unable to receive reinforcements directly from orbit. Captain Thule thus had to establish a forward base to receive drop pods and landing craft. Although well defended, this base could be taken. Secondly, the Space Marines had established their base near ancient ruins, which the Ravens claimed held relics of great importance to the chapter. unwilling to desecrate the space by fortifying it. Fuel opened the door to an enemy claiming the area and thus dealing a powerful blow to the normally unbreakable Space Marine morale. The Battle of North Vandia would be one of the bloodiest of the entire war.
The enemy is at our doorstep and thinks he can push us off this world. He is already gloating. He can taste his victory. But what he fails to see is that we will make this his last meal. The Chief Librarian has ordered the purge of this world to protect our chapter's secrets. Are we to retreat with our duty unfulfilled? Are we to let a black mark stain the banner of the Blood Ravens? I say that we will not. I say our enemies will regret the day they ever decided to face us in battle. Our battle barge orbits overhead and will rain the Emperor's holy fury upon our opponents. More of our brothers will come to join the fight. But as ever, our enemy outnumbers us. Each of you must be an army in your own right. Veterans of the First Company, the finest of the entire chapter, stand with us. Let their valor guide your fire into the enemy's heart. Remember that we are Blood Ravens, brothers. We have all sworn to protect fonts of hidden knowledge. Each one of us must fall before handing this word to the enemy. The Emperor is with us. The unknown Primarch is with us. They have come for our blood, but they will drown in their own. Reinforcements have arrived! To battle, Blood Ravens!
For the Emperor! Rid of me!
No! We cannot fail.
The gene seed must be preserved. Get Captain Fuel to the Thunderhawk. Understood. Join them, Brother Apothecary. We will cover your escape. And you? We cannot allow the enemy to claim our relics. This area must be cleansed with orbital fire. The chapter will honor you, brother. There is no one to be had in defeat. But someone must deliver the targeting beacon. Orbital control. Lock onto this beacon and fire. Full power.
The Word-Bearer's victory over the Blood Raven Space Marines was a terrible blow to the Emperor's faithful. The Ravens fought nearly to the last and blasted the landscape with orbital fire, rather than see their relics fall into heretical hands. But their sacrifices ultimately seemed in vain. Indeed, Eliphas the Inheritor saw North Vandia as the site of his most critical victory. Mad preachers took to the streets of Cronus' cities, claiming that by breaking the Blood Ravens, the Word-Bearers had obtained the personal sanction of War Master Abaddon for the Dark Crusade. It was never clear why the deaths of Blood Ravens, a chapter whose history does not go back to the Horus Heresy, would be especially pleasing to Abaddon. Nevertheless, the forces of the Word-Bearers fought with a new and terrible certainty from that point on. By the end of the Second Cronus War, the foul banner of the Word-Bearers flew across the entire planet. The very Earth cracked with the foul energies unleashed there. Warp storms racked the sky, and demons spread across the land. Where once a prosperous colony had stood, a foul demon world burned like a canker in the void. Black cathedrals rose in all its cities, and the entire population either converted to the blasphemous faith of Chaos Undivided, or became fodder for its blood sacrifices. The loss of a single world and a few 100 million souls would soon pale in comparison to Eliphaz's next acts, however. Soon after his final victory on Cronus, the sorcerers called forth legions of demons and other foul beasts, while Chaos fleets appeared from the warp. Cronus became the launching point for a campaign of conquest that would cut through much of Ultima Segmentum as it drove toward Holy Terra itself. The war for Cronus was but the dawn of the Imperium's darkest day.